My children and I laugh because my husband's default to anything new is no. So the kids and I will say, oh, should we do this? And he will say no. And then he'll think about it for a minute and go, actually, yeah, that's a really good idea. So we kind of have a play around and we laugh and joke about it. Now, many of my clients before coaching are similar. So they get asked to do something new, something a bit stretchy. And if they've got no experience in that area at all, they will say, no, don't do it. And it's their inner critic showing up and keeping them safe from physical and emotional harm, which is fine. But sometimes we can think realistically about that situation and realize we do have plenty of skills, even though we haven't done that specifically before. We've got plenty of skills that will enable us to show up and speak with expertise in that moment. Now, very occasionally, and I love this when this happens, I get a client who has absolutely no issues in saying, yep, sure, I'll do that. It doesn't matter whether she's done it before or not. And they do it and they don't suffer with their inner critic before. They don't suffer with their inner critic when it's actually happening. But after they have finished speaking, the inner critic comes out to play like you would not believe. And they review the performance with such harshness and such vitriol that it's really, really painful. And they will rehash every filler, every misspeak, every wrong word, every piece of content that was missed, every piece of content that was repeated. They will go over it in the minutest of detail and in the most vicious way for hours and days and sometimes weeks afterwards. And it is really painful. It doesn't stop them doing the thing the next time, but the process afterwards is absolutely exhausting. It's really, really tiring. Now, if you recognize this pattern, then I'm going to talk about a couple of things that you can do to help yourself through that post-event trauma of the inner critic showing up. Now, if you also, I would love to hear from you. If you've got specific tactics that you use to manage your inner critic afterwards, then let me know, because I think this is an absolutely fascinating topic. So I would love to hear what your tactics are. So here are my tactics for managing your inner critic if they show up after you've spoken. Number one, have a really clear goal. So when you're speaking, what is it that you are trying to do? Are you trying to educate your audience? Are you trying to inform them? Are you trying to inspire them? Are you trying to entertain them? Have a very clear and specific goal. You may be tempted to have one or two. I would really encourage you to just drill it down to the absolute minimum. So what am I trying to do here? I'm trying to educate. So this is really important, because when I've finished, I can look back, I could watch the video back and go, well, did I manage to explain an issue? Did I manage to give an option of how to behave differently? If I did, then I educated. I achieved my goal. So I would encourage you to have a goal. Every time you speak, whether that's in a team meeting, we need to reach X decision, whether that's at a presentation, whether you're on an interview, whether you're on a podcast or a panel, have a singular goal, because you can review that afterwards and go, well, did I reach that goal? And that can really help calm the inner critic down. It's like, well, I planned to do this and I did. So that's good, right? So it's really important to have that goal. Then at the first opportunity after you have spoken, get yourself a pen and paper. And I would really encourage you to do this in a very analog way. You could do it on your phone. You could record it if you really wanted to, but there's something about the process of writing that makes this true. Write down all the things you did well, all the good things you did, all the things you did brilliantly, right from the beginning of speaking to after speaking. And I want you to find as many things that are true, don't make them up, as many things that are true as possible, because we want you to focus on the good, not the gap, okay? Because your inner critic wants to focus on the gap. They want to focus on all the things you didn't do. So we need to change your focus and focus on the things that you did really, really well. Now, the second thing you can do to help support this is get feedback from an ally in the audience. Now, this is really, really important. If you want to you want specific feedback, basically. So don't ask somebody, how did I do? Because you don't want someone saying, oh, it was really good, you were lovely. Useless, right? So if you want feedback on how many ums and ers, how many fillers you use, you want to say to that person, can you watch my performance? And I want you to notice how many fillers I use and whether I'm using more or less than I did last week. Great. So now that person knows what they're looking for and they know what to compare it to. Can you look to see how well I tell this story? Can you look to see how engaged my audiences are and how much eye contact I'm making with them? So you are getting specific feedback. So as soon as you've written down all those good things, go find your ally, go find that person that you trust and get them to give you specific feedback about the thing that you are trying to improve. Because if we do those things, if we focus on one specific goal, we can answer it, did we do it, yes or no? If we are focused on the good stuff when we've finished, rather than the things that we didn't do well, which is our natural default position, then we are beginning to look at our gains, the things that we're naturally good at. And we can leverage those rather than stop doing other things. So we want to leverage the things that we're already good at. And we are getting very specific and helpful feedback from an ally, which will help us get better next time. So if you are someone whose inner critic plays up after you've spoken, those are the 3 things you need to do. Look at the goal, write that good list, get specific feedback. If your inner critic is holding you back, is causing you distress, is stopping you applying for jobs you should be applying for, is stopping you from speaking up in meetings, is stopping you from progressing your career in the ways that you want it to, then it is time for us to have a conversation, because it sounds like you might need some help, some coaching help to get over that, to move forward so you can become more visible and more credible in your business, because your credibility is tied up with how much and how often and how well you speak in those public scenarios. As unfair as that is, your competence and your credibility is completely tied up with your speaking ability. And we have multiple programs, multiple courses to help you become more visible and more credible in your business. And I would absolutely adore to help you with that. So if this is really resonating with you, it is time to make an appointment. We put the link below. Please sign up, come and have a 45-minute free consultation, no strings attached, and we can just chat about where you're at and how I might be able to help you. I really look forward to talking to you soon. Bye for now.